Hey guys, Stay Patient here, and as many of you all know, I'm fairly excited for No Man's Sky, as is most of the PlayStation community it seems. And as I've talked about in some of my live streams, I truly believe that even if the game itself ends up being a disappointment, it will still be one of the most important releases for a long time, because it's going to change the way developers all around the world approach game design. Hello Games' clever use of mathematical formulas to create software that builds the majority of the game for them has allowed them to craft an almost infinite universe that could never have been made possible using conventional development techniques. A whole new world of possibilities has been opened up that's set to change the face of gaming forever. Games that have this kind of impact are few and far between, so no matter how good or bad the game itself ends up being, it will be part of the discussion regarding how games have evolved over the years for a long time to come. And that's why I feel I have to play it. And in years to come I'll be proud to be able to say that I was there playing it on day one, seeing the future of games before it happened. I'm sure many of you feel the same. At the same time, of course, I do hope the game itself fulfills the potential we all know it has, or is at least interesting enough to make the huge in-game universe a compelling place to explore. And if it is good, I'm also hoping that it gains traction in the way it deserves to. Hello Games and Sean Murray are the very kind of people you want to succeed. Sean is the most humble and modest guy you can imagine despite being so brilliant, and they're all true gaming fans that demand innovation from themselves. I mean, their studio flooded and they lost basically everything less than 3 years ago, and we're still here 1 week away from their groundbreaking release. How many small development teams would have had the conviction to practically start over from scratch on such an ambitious project? They're the exact type of developer that will utilize any profit in the best way possible, so let's hope they make a lot of it. One thing nowadays that can have a big impact on whether a game does gain traction and have lasting appeal is the streaming community. It can put a game in the forefront of people's minds even if they weren't originally aware of it, and keep people talking about it long after release. That's so important now with the number of games being released each year. It's easy for a title to just come and go, but if the streaming community get a hold of it, they can really extend its appeal. So, will No Man's Sky be big in the streaming community? Let's think about what makes a game a long-term success on sites like Twitch. Of course, a lot of it is down to the streamer themselves and other aspects, but when it comes to the games, we have competitive titles like Dota, League of Legends and Overwatch really running the show. But also games like DayZ and H1Z1 have experienced a longer lifespan thanks to the streaming community. And the most viewers I ever receive in a stream is when I'm playing Fallout 4, despite it being an 8-month-old single-player only experience. What do all these games have in common? Well, although they're very different in most aspects, the one commonality they share is that they can be played differently by every person. The competitive titles can showcase different characters each time you watch, along with a varying playstyle and level of skill from each streamer. The experience a player has when exploring the worlds of DayZ or H1Z1 differs greatly on each outing. And out of all the single-player titles, it's ones like Fallout that have at least a degree of that same variation. You can watch someone else play despite having finished it yourself and see it played out quite differently as a result of the decisions they make, whether it be their dialogue and mission choices or the perks they go with. It's games like Uncharted that get a ton of viewers during the week of release when everyone wants to see it for the first time, but then drop significantly because of their linearity. Each playthrough is basically the same, making it pointless watching it over and over again. By now you may have guessed where I'm going with this, especially based on the title of the video. If a game's success on Twitch depends on it being at least slightly different each time you play it, then on paper No Man's Sky should clean up. The game has 18 quintillion planets. They've used the American interpretation of the term quintillion, which amounts to 18 zeros, so in other words there are 18 billion planets. And on a side note, the game is only 6 gigabytes in size due to its procedurally generated nature, but that's another story. Every player will start at a completely different end of the universe, and due to the sheer size of it, Sean Murray himself stated that 99.9% of the planets will probably never be visited, and that's by anyone playing the game, not just you. The chances of you landing on a planet that someone else has visited is very slim, so most of the locations you explore will have never been seen by anyone. So if there was ever a game that was different every time you watch someone play it, it's this one, which is why I think it has the potential to be big on Twitch for a long time. Imagine tuning in to watch a game 5 years after its release, and knowing that the majority of places being visited are completely undiscovered, and being seen for the very first time right in front of your eyes. It may not receive the kind of viewing figures at one time to topple the biggest games on Twitch, but when it comes to staying power, No Man's Sky has the potential to keep going almost forever. The big question though applies to watching and playing the game. That is, will it be compelling? It doesn't matter how big the universe is if it's not got the variety or gameplay to back it up. This is a question we'll be able to at least begin finding the answer to next week, so if you're on the fence about whether to buy the game or you're an Xbox gamer interested in checking out Sony's next big title, then subscribe to the channel and follow me at twitch.tv/stay_patient because I'll be streaming my experience with the game as well as uploading it all to my channel here on YouTube. I really hope No Man's Sky can deliver, so roll on next Wednesday. Thank you for watching guys, I'll see you somewhere in the universe.